What's happening everyone, my name is Alex and welcome back to a new review. Today we are checking out a very affordable tablet called the Alldocube M5. So at the time of this video you can find this tablet for about $160 and for the price I feel that it offers really good value. So first of all, this tablet supports 4G connectivity and it can take two SIM cards at the same time, and based on the bands available you should be able to use this tablet in the US as well with some US carriers, and that's very unusual because a lot of tablets and phones from China don't actually work in the US. We also have a slot for an SD card, so you can expand the internal storage and you can actually install apps on that SD card as well. So even though we only have 64 gigs of internal storage, that can be easily expanded. The 10.1 inches screen is an IPS panel that has a resolution of 2560 by 1600, and that means that you can watch YouTube videos at a 1440p resolution, which is pretty good considering that the screen is quite big. Now the colors on the screen look great and the viewing angles are also good, but the screen gets a lot of reflection, so depending how you are looking at it you may see a lot of reflection, and it doesn't get super bright, so taking this outside it may be a bit difficult to actually see it. As for the screen sensitivity, well, it isn't bad but definitely not the best that I tried, and I did find myself having to type the same letter twice on a couple of occasions. Now the tablet is being powered by the Mediatek Helio X20 processor. This is a deca-core processor that was released about 2 years ago, and this processor is powerful enough to run pretty much any app available in the Google Play Store, but this is not the most power efficient CPU. So the scores that we get on the Antutu benchmark and the Geekbench 4 are pretty high, but the battery life on this tablet isn't amazing because of that processor. So inside this tablet we have a 6000 mAh battery, and on one charge you can get between 4 and 5 hours of screen on time. I guess that isn't bad, but considering how big the battery is I was kind of expecting a bit more. Charging the battery takes about 2.5 hours with the charger that comes in the box, and the charging is done through a micro USB port that's at the top of the tablet. That micro USB port also supports OTG. Next to that charging port we also have a 3.5mm audio jack, and that's great because you can plug in some headphones, and the sound quality from that 3.5mm audio jack is also decent. I mean, it's not super loud but decent enough for a tablet. And talking about sound, well, the tablet has stereo speakers as well. So you have a speaker on the left and a speaker on the right, but the speakers don't get super loud. I guess it really depends where you are, because if you're in a quiet room they get loud enough, but if you go outside and there is a lot of noise around you, the speakers may not be enough, and you're better off to use some headphones. But here is a quick sample so you can hear how the speakers sound.
Searching for a longer day. People feeling like the light has just come. We must never stop the way.
And we're moving on to the build quality. So the tablet's body is made out of metal, and that makes the tablet feel a bit more premium. On the back and all the way at the top we have some plastic that covers those SIM card slots and the slot for the SD card. And on the right hand side we have the power button and the volume keys and the microphone. Now you can use this tablet as a phone as well, because we have a dialer app in there, and as I said before it can take SIM cards, so you can make phone calls but you're gonna look a bit funny. Plus every time you're using this as a phone you're gonna use the loudspeaker, so everyone around you is gonna hear your conversation, so probably not ideal. On the front we also have a 2-megapixel camera, and on the back we have a 5-megapixel camera, but taking pictures with the rear camera is probably not ideal because you're gonna look something like this, so you definitely don't wanna do that. The video quality for the front-facing camera is decent enough for video calls, but not more than that, so the cameras are just average. Believe it or not, we even get a GPS unit inside this tablet, and it only takes about 5 seconds to find your location. So if you'd have like a SIM card inside this tablet, you can definitely use this in your car for navigation. So I was quite surprised to see that. Now unfortunately for sensors we don't really have that many sensors, but that was to be expected because the tablet is cheap. So we don't have a gyroscope, we don't have a light sensor or proximity sensor either. For connectivity we have dual band Wi-Fi and 4G connectivity, as I mentioned earlier. Now the speeds over the 4G network weren't the best that I've seen, but at least the range and the speeds over Wi-Fi are pretty good. So really no complaints at this price range. Moving on to performance, so the tablet comes pre-installed with Android 8 right out of the box, and you also get a launcher that's very close to stock Android, so there is nothing holding this tablet back. So whenever you're scrolling in between screens, opening apps, closing apps, everything is done in a very speedy way. Multitasking works pretty good as well, and you can even use the split screen function from Android 8. So for example, you can have the browser on the left and the YouTube app on the right, and it does seem to work very well. Now, for certain apps, you will notice a bit of lag. So for example, the Facebook app, you're gonna notice a bit of lag whenever you're scrolling through your feed. It's not bad, but it's definitely noticeable. The gaming performance is also decent, and most games that I played on it did perform quite well. I mean, there was a bit of lag here and there, but definitely not that bad. Now keep in mind that whenever you're playing games, the battery drains like crazy, so that CPU is definitely not power efficient. And it's time to conclude this video. So for about $160, this tablet offers really good value. It's awesome for games, it's awesome to watch YouTube videos, but keep in mind that if you're installing the Netflix app on this, you're not going to be able to watch Netflix movies in HD, which is a shame. The biggest complaint that I have about this tablet is the battery life, because the battery isn't that amazing on it, because if you're taking this on a flight, for example, and the flight is like 8 hours long, well, you're not gonna make it through the entire flight on one charge, and that is a bit disappointing. Alright guys, hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did like it, press that like button, don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.